Welcome in to I Remember My First Time. Oh, don't be nasty, Jacob. Not that first time.
Damn it.
This is a podcast about cinematic awakenings.
Oh, I like the sound of that.
Where we discuss the movies we love with someone who just popped their cherry to that movie.
Oh my God, that sounds so exciting.
Jacob, are all the movies we do on this podcast going to be good movies?
God, I hope not.
Do we like shitty movies?
We don't just like shitty movies. We love shitty movies. Sometimes even more than good movies.
Are we critics?
Absolutely not.
But do we love the shit out of movies?
Oh, we do love the fucking shit out of movies.
What masterpiece do we have on tap this week?
We have one of your favorite movies of all time. It's your birthday episode. You got to choose the movie. This movie's ranked number 5 on American Film Institute's 10 greatest films in the genre of sports. It's in the top 100 funniest movies of all time from Film Institutes. And it is included in the 1001 movies you must see before you die. The 1988...
Guess right.
1988 Kevin Costner, Susan Sarandon, Tim Robbins, rom-com sports masterpiece, Bull Durham.
It is a masterpiece.
BJ, are we gonna fuck or not?
Easy, Jacob. Calm down. Breathe through your eyelids like the lava lizards of the Galapagos Island.
This underwear does make me feel sexy. Does that make me queer?
Nah. I am BJ Nuke Leica.
Joined as always by me, Jacob Crash Ekus. And I may legitimately name my first child Crash, because what a fucking awesome name.
Awesome name.
So it was so cool. Oh, and you asked us the other day, was Nima on Team Nuke or Team Crash? And not being a fan of immaturity, she was very much Team Crash.
Okay, Team Crash is the right answer.
Yes, I agree. Because Kevin Costner, God damn it, you sexy motherfucker.
Bomber jackets and pleated pants, baby.
Oh my gosh. And this is going to be weird for me to say, but what great skin complexion.
Is that what it is? Is that a big part of his charm? Is that perfect complexion?
I think so. And, you know, I just turned 30. You're 33. When Kevin Costner shot this film, he was 33. I hope to look half as good at 33. Just half.
Oh, we'll talk plenty about Kevin Costner during this podcast. Don't you worry. But we will get started with the 1988 classic Bull Durham, described by Prime Video as veteran minor league catcher Crash Davis is assigned to the Class A Durham Bulls to mentor the team's star rookie, wild pitcher Nuke LaLoosh. But it ends up in a comedic love triangle with teen groupie Annie Savoy.
Love that. It's pretty good description of this movie.
Amazon struggles a little bit. That one's not bad.
Yeah, that one's not
bad. This is some of the weirdest range of scores I've seen for user reviews.
Okay.
IMDb has it as a 7 out of 10, which is kind of an average movie.
Yep.
But Rotten Tomatoes has it at 97%.
Jesus Christ.
Which is a bona fide classic.
Yep.
And Metacritic has it at 73%, which is pretty good. Pretty good.
Those are real critics.
And speaking of real critics, Roger Ebert did review this movie.
Sure he did. It's 1988. I don't think he gives it a thumbs up. I think he gives it a 2.5. I think he gets really close to giving it a thumbs up. But I think he gives it a 2.5.
3.5 out of 4 stars from our guy, Raj.
Fuck him.
And I'm going to tell you, this is maybe my favorite review that he's done so far.
Okay.
He's
an incredible writer.
Oh, he is. He's a great writer. He starts out with a quote. Some days you win, some days you lose, and some days it rains. Bull Durham is a baseball version of Wall Street in which everybody's takeover bid is for someone else's heart. But what really makes this my favorite review, I'm just going to go ahead and read this whole last paragraph because it's gold.
Okay, I love gold.
Bull Durham is a treasure of a movie because it knows and so little about love. The movie is completely unrealistic romantic fantasy, and in the real world, the delicate little balancing act of these three people would crash into pieces. No pun intended. But in this movie, and so we want to believe in love, and we want to believe that once in a while, lovers can get a break from fate. That's why this movie's ending is so perfect, not because it seems just right, but because it seems wildly impossible, and we want to believe it anyway.
Love that. Thank you, Roger Ebert, even though I got your opinion wrong. That was good.
He's a really good writer.
Yeah, we've become big Ebert fans on this show, and I don't think either one of us cared either way about what Roger Ebert thought or even liked him all that much. We just knew he was a critic.
Right.
And we've become pretty big fans.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I will take to heart what he says. I might not agree with everything, but I'll take it to heart.
Yeah.
He knows movies and he's a great writer.
Yep.
So how'd this movie do in the box office, Jacob?
It actually did pretty good. Its budget in 80, so it came out in 88, so its budget in 87 was $9 million.
Okay.
Adjusted to inflation, $22 million.
Oh, pretty low budget. Of course, there's no action scenes.
Yeah. And by 88, I mean, Kevin Costner and Tim Robbins aren't the thoroughbred stars they become in the 90s.
Right.
Its opening weekend, it opened with $5 million, so more than half of its original budget. So to inflation, that's $12 million.
Not bad.
So knowing that, what do you think the domestic gross was? You can tell me either with inflation or without. Without inflation, it's $12 million. Opening weekend.
Okay, so without inflation, $5 million isn't a lot. So I'm going to say $125 million.
Okay. Without inflation? You're saying without inflation?
With inflation. So it made 10 times what it made the opening weekend.
Jesus Christ. BJ, you were one digit off.
Ooh.
$126 million adjusted to inflation.
All right.
$51 million.
All right.
Yeah.
Summer movie, baseball movie, getting out of the heat.
Yeah.
This is a great 2-hour get out of the heat movie.
Yep. And I don't have any information on the international box office, but at the same time, this was 1988 and it's a baseball movie. It's not big international.
And for a movie that's a top 5 all-time sports movie, top 100 overall comedy, one of the movies you have to see before you die, that's not a huge box office number.
No, it's not. It seems like it's got, and I don't have this information because I couldn't find it, but it seems like it's got quite a big cult following.
I can see that.
What year were you born?
1988.
Yeah, you were born the year it came out, and this is one of your favorite movies.
Yes.
That sounds like a cult movie to me.
Yes.
And this, I mean, I watched it in 2022 for the first time. Yes, I'm the virgin. Duh. And this movie is incredible. I will be rewatching it.
It ages exceptionally well.
Yes. But yeah, that's what I have for the budget. It did crazy good for the most part. I mean, not even for the most part. It just did good. Made all this money, and people still watch it to this day.
Oh,
clearly.
Yeah. It's a top 5 sports movie of all time.
Yep.
That's all you need to know.
Yep. Yeah. Ranked literally number 5.
So since you were the virgin, and this is one of my favorite episodes, one of my favorite movies.
This is one of your favorite episodes too.
Sure.
Yeah.
We're 3 minutes into it. I can tell you it's one of my favorite episodes.
Yeah, that's okay.
I made you watch this, A, because it's one of my favorite movies, and B, because you've mentioned on this podcast, you do not like romantic comedies or sports movies.
Yeah.
So I made you watch a romantic comedy sports movie. What'd you think about it?
I loved it.
Yes.
It was incredible. I loved every bit of it. From the opening monologue from Susan Sarandon to the sex montage at the very end. I was never bored. I love the acting. I love the stupidity of the movie. I love the smartness of the movie. I love the love triangle. I loved watching the character development, because for a comedic movie, there's so much character development in this movie. It's nuts.
And very smart dialogue in here.
I was about to say that the dialogue blew me away. This is a very well-written script.
It starts off with the Susan Sarandon monologue, whatever it is. Narration at the beginning.
I'm calling it a monologue.
And you probably think the same thing. When it nailed me with the dialogue was pretty early in the movie in Kevin Costner's "What I Believe" speech.
Mm-hmm. The "What I Believe" speech is one of the best monologues I've ever seen in a movie. Probably my favorite thing out of Susan Sarandon's opening narration or monologue was she was like, you know what? It's probably a bad trade on my part. Like, I'm getting the bad end of the deal, but bad trades are part of baseball.
What a great way to go through life. Every time you make a mistake, bad trades are part of baseball.
Yeah, I love it. It was great. And I love the sexuality that Susan Sarandon had throughout the movie. And I don't find Susan Sarandon super attractive. Like, she's not unattractive.
Right. She's a movie actor. She's a big time movie star.
Yes. And the sexuality that she had in this movie and her physical presence and how she used her body was incredible. I loved it.
Well, much like Sharon Stone in Basic Instinct, she uses the body and the brain.
Mm-hmm. Very much so. But yeah, I mean, this is one of my favorite movies now. I'm glad I have a rom-com that I can put on when I feel like it. Just something nice and light.
And this is a movie you can, after you've seen it once, you can kind of come in at any time, go out at any time. It doesn't really matter. There's not a boring 10-minute stretch in this movie.
No. I was never bored at any point in this movie, which is the basis for all good movies.
Right. And I think that's where your dislike of rom-com comes in, because I don't want to say every rom-com, 80% of rom-coms, there's a 20-minute stretch where you're just like, can we get on with this?
Mm-hmm.
And you don't get that in this movie.
No, not at all. You told me you had a new blat about this movie.
So
you've been keeping it to yourself. So that has to be something you liked about this movie.
And this is a blat because I've seen this movie, I don't know, 9 times.
Uh-huh.
And I've never thought this before.
So before you go on, 9 times. Is this the most rewatched movie you've ever seen?
No.
Is it top 5?
Top 5 as an adult, for sure.
Okay.
I'd have to think, but I know as an adult, the movies I've seen the most times are this, Major League, and Pulp Fiction.
Okay. I love the difference in how often we watch our top movies, because my top 5 rewatch movies enters like the 60 range.
Mine's like 7. So I never really noticed this before, but kind of watching it with the mindset of doing a podcast. This is a coming-of-age movie. Usually we think of coming-of-age movies as high schoolers, teenagers, that real growth period you have in your life. But that's not the only time you come of age. You come of age at, in this case, 30-something-year-old Kevin Costner.
Yep.
And, I don't know, late 30s, Susan Sarandon?
Yep.
And
definitely for Nuke, he's coming of age because anybody that's ever dated a man, known a man, or is a man knows that men are not real adults in their early 20s.
Absolutely not. Legally, you may be an adult. I mean, at the beginning of the movie, he is having sex
minutes before
3 minutes before his first professional start.
Yes.
And 2/3 of the way through the movie, he's abstaining from sex.
Yep. I love that scene. Susan Sarandon was so pissed off at Crash. And he was just like, I didn't tell him to stop sleeping with you. I said, you don't fuck with the streak.
You don't fuck with the streak.
Which you being you ought to know that.
You do not fuck with a streak.
If you're having a bunch of sex and you start winning, you keep having a bunch of sex. If you stop having sex and you start winning, you don't have sex till you lose. Like, that's how this shit works. I don't believe in streaks. I don't believe in superstitions. But the mind does for some reason. It gets in your head. Just like when he was walking up to the plate to bat, he's getting it out of his head. I need to hit this ball. Just don't think. Like, that's the same kind of shit.
He takes the chicken bones from the, I don't know if he's Dominican or Cuban, the Hispanic guy. He just puts his bat out there, and A wise man once said, "I'm not superstitious, but I'm a little stitious."
Michael Scott. So what else did you like? What else do you like about this movie?
The number one thing is 1A, 1B, the dialogue and the acting. The dialogue and the acting are great in this movie. Yeah. Tim Robbins, incredibly funny.
Yes.
Pretty much the only movie he's funny in, he's really funny in this movie.
He should have done more comedic movies, and he has such a good physical comedy about himself, too. He was hilarious.
Oh, yeah, and he's got that great physical comedy, kind of tall, skinny, lanky body, and he uses every bit of it.
You know, another thing that I didn't mention that I liked about this movie, and just being your friend, I've gotten more into. I've never seen a game, never went to a game, but just the minor league thing. Like, I love the names. I love the fact that the MLB has an entire minor league to develop players. Like, so if you don't make it into the major leagues, you don't have to give up on your dream.
That's right.
And I love that. And I loved being able to watch a movie that, according to the trivia that I've read, was such an accurate portrayal of minor league teams.
The writer was a former minor leaguer, right?
The writer and director, former writer.
Both of them?
Yeah.
Or is it the same guy?
He wrote it and directed it. He's a former minor league baseball player, yeah. And he actually, just because we brought it up now, Kurt Russell actually helped Ron Shelton develop the script and was originally penciled in to play Crash. Russell was so impressed, he actually wrote fan letters to Costner and Shelton about their performance. And Kurt Russell's a former minor league baseball player.
Is. Yeah.
Which makes sense on how accurate people say it was to minor league life. And I just loved seeing that movie because I know so little about it.
Right. And it's not fantastic, right? It's not James Bond, super spy. It's normal people who probably aren't going to make the major leagues, and they're eventually going to become insurance agents and bar owners. And it's really interesting how those people live this stage of their life.
Yeah. Any funny things you noticed?
I've seen it enough times. I caught all the lines.
Yeah. The funniest thing that I noticed was the dialogue. It was so witty and so good, and just the performance by the actors to deliver these lines. Because, I mean, a movie can be written as good as Pulp Fiction, and depending on the director and the actors, you could get a shit fucking movie.
Correct.
No pun intended. They knocked it out of the park.
You intended that pun, don't lie.
No, I did not. It's the only thing that I could come up with. They fucking did, though.
I will say the scene that gets me every time is when Susan Sarandon's tied up and the camera's slowly panning down her. Her body's moving, and you can tell she's into it. And then it gets to Kevin Costner painting her toenails.
Yes.
It gets me every time.
That was good. And it was funny. That's one of the scenes, or that's one of the still pics that when you go on IMDb, you see that on the trailer. You see Kevin Costner shirtless. I didn't watch a trailer. I hate watching trailers.
I don't watch trailers.
Yeah, I like just going into a movie. I just saw that still, and I was like, oh, I'm going to get a Kevin Costner sex scene. And I mean, technically I did, but not in that scene. And it was great, especially because, like, this is 1988. What dude's painting a female's toenails?
Oh, sure. And I don't know if I've seen that in a movie since.
Which, now that we're talking about that, this movie, considering that it was written by a former minor league baseball player who grew up in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, it was very pro-feminist.
Oh, yeah. Female empowerment is a big part of this movie.
I very much like that about this movie. I mean, from when Millie was getting her dress tailored by Susan Sarandon, and she was like, do you think I should be allowed to wear white? Yes, every woman should be allowed to wear white. And I totally agree with that. Sleep with as many people as you want. I don't care if they're gay, straight, any LGBTQ+. Sleep with as many people as you want. You deserve to wear fucking white because men get that luxury.
That is such a great line. And it's made in a baseball movie.
Yes. And then the other good line that I felt was just super pro-feminist was, super feminist. Millie coming down, she's like, sorry, I got lured.
Nope.
And
You
Annie's
get
like,
lured.
And Annie's like, no, women don't get lured. We take responsibility for our actions.
Repeat after me.
Yep. I like that a lot about this movie. And it was very surprising. Because I didn't expect that at all.
There is one thing I didn't like about this movie.
Okay, I want to hear it because there's not anything I didn't like about this movie.
Tim Robbins is not a big league pitcher. His form is terrible.
I don't watch baseball, so I don't know anything about that.
Kevin Costner looks great, batting, catching, throwing, fielding, but Tim Robbins, misses the mark just a little bit.
Just a wee bit.
And there's nothing you didn't like about this movie. Not a thing. Okay, so I guess that answers the next question. Is this a good movie?
Oh, this is a great movie.
It's on the list of movies you must see before you die.
And they're not kidding. This is a movie you must see before you die. This is a great movie. I mean, I hate rom-coms and sports movies. And I love this movie.
Moving on to our movie-related talk. The importance of foreplay. I'm just kidding. Although foreplay is important.
Yes. Foreplay is very important. Men, please your women. Like, they don't have to have sex with you. They choose to. Please make it worth it for them. You're probably not going to make them come. So just, please.
It's like baseball. If you're batting 300, you're doing a great job.
Yep. 100%.
The actual movie discussion I think we should have here is the male rom-com.
Okay.
Because this is a rom-com.
Yep.
And it's clearly written for males.
Yes.
And we don't get a lot of that. And I'm not sure why, because this is fantastic.
What other male rom-coms are there?
I don't know. Maybe, what's the Seth Rogen, Katherine Heigl one?
Forgetting Sarah Marshall?
No.
That's a male rom-com, though.
Forgetting Sarah Marshall is a male rom-com. That's true. And it's really good.
Yeah.
The one, Knocked Up.
Yeah.
Which most of those skew more towards comedy than this movie. And less towards romance. But yeah, I agree. Both of those are kind of male rom-coms. And I enjoy both of them. And I really enjoy Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Yeah. Forgetting Sarah Marshall was an okay movie. I've now seen it twice. So I feel like I've seen it enough times to know if I actually think it's an okay movie or not. But I do like the fact that it's geared towards men.
Correct. Which, I don't think we've gotten one since then.
I don't think so.
A lot of men don't like rom-com, so they probably won't make a lot of money. As great as this movie is, $120 million. It's not that much. But we at this podcast enjoy the male rom-com.
Yes. Please make more Hollywood. I want to see more male rom-coms.
What's your favorite part of the male rom-com?
The stupidness.
Okay.
It really hit home for me because I guess that's one reason I don't like rom-coms in general, because how serious they are. And I enjoyed the stupidness of the male rom-com.
Right. To a point, I think I mentioned this earlier, Team Crash is the right answer.
Yes.
And that's all because how freaking goofy Tim Robbins is as Nuke LaLoosh.
Yes.
And they did a really good job of pulling that off in this movie. But yeah, I think you're onto something there. The goofiness, the ability to go from serious to goofy. The fact that men aren't near as concerned about it. In a female rom-com, Kevin Costner is talking with different guys on the team about how he makes her feel and what she does for him and this and that. No, this is a male rom-com. Do they talk to each other and share their emotions at all? Nope.
Mm-mm. They don't need to. In fact, they shy away from it, like men do. I don't advocate for that.
Speaking of what men do, it's Mount Rushmore time.
It is Mount Rushmore time.
Did you like that transition?
I love that transition, BJ. That was great.
Because you know what's not on Mount Rushmore?
What?
a woman.
100%. They don't need to be. They have done nothing for this country. Not a damn thing. I'm kidding. Oh my God, I am kidding.
So you're the virgin. So let's hear your fourth favorite scene in the classic Bull Durham.
So my fourth favorite scene in this movie is the last scene, the sex montage. I love the shot of Kevin Costner's happy trail whenever she was taking off his pants. I was like, oh my God, I might be a little turned on.
An aggressive nipple licking scene from Susan Sarandon?
Yes. He had awesome bathtub sex. Susan Sarandon has so many fucking candles. So many candles.
No one has that many candles.
Nobody has that many candles. I love them having sex in the milk.
They were stoned then, right?
I don't know. I would imagine you'd have to be slightly inebriated to have sex in milk.
Just the way they were talking, the way they were eating the cereal.
Yeah.
And Susan Sarandon pulls a roach off the ground when she's cleaning up. So
okay.
I assumed they were stoned there, but it doesn't.
I did not catch him or her pulling a roach off the ground.
Oh, when she's cleaning up. The next day, Crash goes off to Asheville or whatever, some random ACC town. And she's cleaning up the apartment and pulls a roach out. So I assume they were high there, but it never explicitly says. But keep going.
Okay. No, that was it. Just that last little sex montage between Crash and Annie, because I had been waiting all movie for it to happen.
Because you knew it was going to happen.
Yeah, at some point.
From the moment she saw him across the bar, you're like, oh, these two gonna fuck.
And I'm glad they did. What's your fourth favorite scene?
So I didn't have much difficulty picking my top three scenes. The fourth scene was pretty tough for me. I decided to go with what I'm referring to as Nuke Lelouch figures it out. So this starts at the kind of breathe through your eyelids scene.
Okay.
And goes through that next game.
Okay.
It's probably the most baseball that's in the movie. He looks much more like a minor league pitcher when he's doing the Fernando Valenzuela don't look at the glove pitching motion.
Okay.
It ends with Costner getting called off, so he's like, fuck you, Nuke. I'm going to tell this batter what's coming, and he's going to knock it out the park. Just to teach you a fucking lesson.
I did like that scene a lot. That was good. And I enjoyed it every time he did that, because that wasn't the only time he did it.
Several times he told the batter what pitch was coming, just to teach Nuke a lesson.
Yes. My third favorite scene is the bar scene.
The first bar scene?
Yes.
Okay.
When they're dancing. Love that scene. In that scene, Paula Abdul, she was the one that created all the dance moves for Tim Robbins. She choreographed that scene, and she incorrectly believed that in exchange for doing that, she would get a line or two in the movie. And when told that no such deal was agreed upon, Paula Abdul marched off screaming. She was very upset.
Tim Robbins looked like a hell of a dancer in that scene, didn't he?
Yes, he did. He was great. And again, his physical comedy, amazing. I love the "you coming or not, homeboy," wanting to fight him. Him saying, "I don't believe in fighting," telling him to throw the ball at him, and he's like, "Bro, I'll kill you if I throw this ball." I was like, "Dude, you couldn't hit water if you fell out of a fucking boat."
Who carries a baseball in their breast pocket of their jacket?
Kevin Costner as Crash when he's trying to get the pitcher ready for the major leagues. He takes his job very seriously. You can tell this man loves baseball.
He does. He doesn't know what to do without baseball.
Yes. So that kind of person carries a baseball in their fucking pocket. And one more thing, I love the line rechanneling their homosexuality.
So where does this scene end for you? Does this scene end when before Susan Sarandon takes him back to the apartment?
Yeah.
Okay.
It ends with the bar.
Okay. All right. So my third favorite scene was actually your fourth favorite scene, the end sex scene for Costner and Sarandon. That's the payoff of the movie. Mm-hmm. That's what you've been waiting for this entire movie, and you finally get it. And they're both just great in it.
Mm-hmm.
their conversations, their foreplay, their sex, the bathtub, the candles, the cereal. How long do you think they fucked for?
Oh, all night. All night.
4 hours? 5 hours?
Yeah, at least 4.
Okay.
At least 4. I'm thinking closer to 5 because you have the bathtub scene, you have the nail painting scene. I'm not a woman, but I'm assuming after a night of sex in the middle of it when you're getting your nails painted, it makes you get a little wet.
Sure. And when they stopped having sex, it was foreplay. It was either foreplay or sex. 4 or 5 straight hours.
Yeah.
And I bet it was glorious.
Yeah, I bet it was incredible. Best sex them two have ever had.
Because they've been waiting all summer for that.
Oh, 100% they've been waiting all summer. My second favorite scene is the opening scene. And I take that all the way up to when he goes out on the field to pitch the first time.
Okay.
Him having sex with Millie 3 minutes before the opening pitch. Millie asking, or Susan Sarandon asking Millie, how was he? And she goes, he fucks like he pitches, sort of all over the place.
Did you love the mascot dancing? Or not the mascot, but I don't know what he is.
No, it's a mascot. It's a Bill Durham bull.
No. The old guy.
Oh, yeah, Max.
Yes.
Oh, he was great. And I loved, I know they're not coaches, they're managers in baseball, but I love the manager going back there and just really giving it to Tim Robbins.
That is a no-nonsense manager, right?
Yes. I don't know what my favorite part about that scene was. It was just great.
So
honestly, that probably could have been my first favorite scene.
That made my honorable mention. I really wanted to put it in the top 4. My favorite part of that scene was Susan Sarandon walking to the ballpark and just the score, what she's saying, the build-up leading until walking up to a baseball stadium and walking through to where you actually see the field is such a magical moment in real life and such a magical moment in that scene that as a baseball fan, you can't help but give that scene a round of applause.
Okay. But it didn't make your top 4.
It didn't.
Okay, so what's your number 2?
My number 2 is the road trip.
What an incredible scene.
Tim Robbins.
That was my number 1 honorable mention.
Tim Robbins playing the Otis Redding song on the guitar.
And fucking up the words.
Of course.
Yeah.
So, which is a song that the lyrics are pretty clear in that song.
Yeah. How dense do you have to be?
You know, it's not like he's messing up the lyrics on a Eminem song or a Metallica song. Something where the lyrics are a little more difficult to understand. They're super clear.
Yes.
In Trial or Little Tenderness. The best part of that scene is Kevin Costner turning on the water sprinklers when they really need a rain out.
Yes. And another part of that road trip scene that I enjoyed was Kevin Costner talking about the show. Love that.
Yes.
I loved how excited all the players got to listen to it, except for Nuke, because he knew he was going.
Right. None of the other guys are making it.
No, none of them, ever. And I mean, even Crash, he only made it for 21 days.
10 years in the minors. Switch hitting catcher, great game manager, hitting 25 dingers a year.
247 was the record. He broke it.
And he was in the minors for 10 years, and he only made the show for 21 days. The best 21 days of his life.
Yep. This man loves baseball.
Yep.
And yeah, the rain sequence was great.
It was.
Yeah.
Can you imagine, what were they, 16 or 18 straight days of riding the bus and staying in hotels and only being around the same 18 people? That just has to be miserable.
Yes.
And did you notice what beer they were drinking?
I did not.
They were living the high life.
High life.
Drinking the champagne of beers.
I love that.
Yeah, great scene. And the physical comedy of Tim Robbins at the end pitching in nothing but the little girder.
Yes.
That Susan Sarandon gave him.
Yes.
And having the dream about it.
Yes.
Just covered in sweat. Looking like he's about to enter the wrestling ring. He's got so much oil on him. Love that scene. Love it.
My number 1 favorite scene is what you asked me, where I ended the first bar scene. My number 1 favorite scene is the scene in the apartment Susan Sarandon's house. Crash is straight up 12 years in the minor leagues. I don't try out. That's not what I do.
Yep.
And we've already talked about it. Costner's What I Believe In monologue, incredible.
If you're an inspiring actor, do that monologue in an audition.
Yes.
Learn that monologue because it's wonderful.
Yes. And then my choice for the opening quote is in that scene. Excuse me, are we going to fuck or what?
God, Nuke Lelouch is so fucking horny in that scene.
And this line wasn't in this scene of the movie, but I have to bring it up because it's such a great line. It's when it's after the batting cages, which is another one of my honorable mentions.
That's a good scene. It's so short though. But
it's so short. But right after that, Susan Sarandon and Tim Robbins are having sex, and she calls him Crash. And for a moment, Nuke gets butthurt. Susan Sarandon, being the baller that she is, brings it back out of it, and she's just like, would you rather I was making love to you, or would you rather I was making love to him using your name, or you using his name? And I was like, that's an incredible line. What the fuck? Yeah, I know that wasn't part of my number one scene, but I had to throw it in there.
So I cheated on this one because this is one of my favorite 15-minute stretches in cinema history, from the bar scene through the Kevin Costner "What I Believe In" speech.
Okay.
That whole 15 minutes is just almost untouchable in movies.
Yes.
It's so good.
Yeah.
We talked about the bar scene already. Both of them going back to their apartment, and then it hard cuts to both of them sitting on the couch.
I forgot about that when I talked about World War II. That was great. Just both awkwardly sitting on the couch.
Because they're like, are we going to have a devil's three-way, or what's going on here? With an Eiffel Tower? What's the deal?
And I love, for the most part, anything that Susan Sarandon said in the opening monologue happened throughout the movie. Reading Walt Whitman and different poets and classic literature. You got that in this scene. Like, I love that.
Getting tied up and being read Walt Whitman.
Yeah. Love that. And, oh my gosh, as a young man who's never truly experienced sex, to be tied up, he was ready to just explode.
And she just read poetry to him for hours. Susan Sarandon's a bad bitch in this movie.
Yep. Wow, that was a very quick Mount Rushmore scenes.
Yeah. You didn't tie me up and read me Henry David Thoreau for 2 hours.
I did not, but I will.
Page 1, Walden.
And now it's time for character breakdown. I wanted to talk about Ron Shelton for a little bit, the writer and director, but I kind of already did.
Okay, yeah. Former minor league baseball player.
Wrote an incredible script, very feminist for who I imagine he was at the time, or at least how he was raised, and a minor league baseball player. Like, wow.
Good, strong lead female character in Susan Sarandon.
But with the character breakdown, there's only 3 characters we need to talk about.
Yeah. Shout out Millie. Shout out Jimmy, her future husband.
Yeah.
And what was the dancing guy's name?
Max.
Great job, Max.
Yeah. Shout out to all you, but there's just 3 to talk about here. It's Crash, Nuke, and Annie.
Who do you want to start with?
Oh, we're gonna start with Team Crash.
At this point in the podcast, the sexiest man we've seen on screen is one Mr. Matthew Quigley.
Yeah. Tom Selleck is Matthew Quigley.
Does Kevin Costner as Crash Davis surpass Tom Selleck as Matthew Quigley?
No. He comes the closest out of anybody we've had so far.
Okay, because to me, it's essentially a push.
Okay.
I was going to leave the decision up to you.
Okay.
Because it is extremely close to me.
I don't think it's as close to me as it is for you. Yeah, Crash is an easy number 2, and I think it's going to be hard to push him out of the number 2 spot.
And I think what Kevin Costner has is he has this really interesting mix, because you mentioned his skin tone earlier. He's not tan, but he's not pale. He's not big, but he's not skinny. He's not tall, but he's not short. He's not blonde, but he doesn't have dark hair. He has all this weird mix that just melds together, and he's so goddamn charming.
And I like Kevin Costner with no facial hair. I like him with facial hair. I've seen a lot of Westerns with him. And, of course, most Western actors have facial hair in their movies. But I like Kevin Costner without facial hair. He has a great face to look at.
Does. Good smile.
Yeah.
He kind of does that half side smile thing.
And you know what? For someone that doesn't have a strong jawline, it doesn't take away from his look at all.
No.
In fact, I think it enhances it. Because he's got that boyish grin, kind of.
And, God, he looks good in a bomber jacket, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. So, yeah, that's Crash. Crash Davis?
Crash Davis.
What a cool fucking name. I'm not kidding. My kid might be named Crash. It might be hard to pull over on my lady, but
Just sneak it in as the middle name. She's going to be on so many drugs when she gives birth. Just write it in there and move on.
all right, cool. I figured it out. And then I can call him by his middle name. Nuke LaLoosh.
Tim Robbins is a great actor who I feel like his career kind of landed maybe on one of the worst sides for how talented he is.
Say that again?
So his career, in terms of his talent, if you ran a simulation, I think this is in the bottom of 10% of how his career turns out.
Yeah.
He could easily have been Tom Hanks. He's
Yes.
that good an actor.
Yes. Aside from this movie, just to further your point, Shawshank Redemption and Jacob's Ladder.
Yes, and Mystic River.
Yeah. Yeah, I forgot about that one. I just recently watched that for the first time. All three incredible portrayals by him.
Great performances.
And that's not taking this movie into account. And he was incredible in this. I wonder why he didn't have such an explosive career.
I don't think he cared.
Okay.
I don't think he cares what people think about him. I don't think he cares to take the Oscar bait movie. I don't think he cares. I think he knows how good he is and doesn't care what you think.
Okay. He was incredible in this movie. And I love Tim Robbins.
He's funny. He's annoying and charming at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
You really believe he's trying to better himself as a baseball player.
Yep. He's incredibly dim-witted.
Yes.
A lot of times I feel like it's hard for actors to portray dim-witted and do it so effectively.
Especially you, who's before this, your experience with Tim Robbins was Shawshank, Jacob's Ladder, and Mystic River.
Yep.
And then you see this dimwit who's giving an interview, and he's like, "Yeah, dude, it's pretty bodacious, man."
His last interview saying just some stupid shit.
Just the most generic interview of all time. I love that interview.
I also love Kevin Costner telling him to do generic interviews. Like, he's like, really? That? Yeah, I know it's fucking boring. Write it down. Like, this isn't an opinion piece. Stupid bitch. And for the number 3 character, Annie, Susan Sarandon. We've touched on this a lot already. For someone that I'm not attracted to, I was attracted to her in this movie.
This is the most crucial role in the movie.
Yes.
If this movie is not done by somebody who pulls off everything she pulls off, this may be a straight up bad movie.
Yes.
But she pulls everything she needs to pull off. You believe that she's smart. You believe that she's sexy. You believe that she's cunning. You believe that she doesn't believe in religion, but is really spiritual. It is a just masterclass of a performance on how to make a role work.
Well, and it's awesome when Ron Shelton wanted her as Annie, the producers didn't want Susan Sarandon.
Can I take a guess?
I don't know who they wanted.
Oh, no, I was going to say they thought she was too old.
And not attractive enough.
Fuck them. She's plenty attractive.
100% agree. So you know what she did? She put on a very tight, short red dress.
Ooh.
And then went into the producer's office and just leaned over the desk and just acted super fucking sexy like she does in this movie.
Redheads in red dresses is a great combination.
Yeah, love that. So she knew how to get the movie too. Love that.
Oh yeah, and she gets what she wants.
I just love how powerful she is. She knows what she wants. She doesn't care. Doesn't care what people think. Like, she is the woman's woman.
Yes.
Whether you want to have sex a lot or you don't, knowing that you can do whatever you want, just like any man can. I love that.
But at the same time, when Nuke wouldn't have sex with her, she was kind of losing that superpower.
Yeah, which, like you said, is that coming of age movie, because it's like she doesn't need to settle down necessarily, but she's getting to a point in her life where she's like, maybe I should. Maybe I'm done with this part of my life. Because by no means should anyone have this much control over me, especially a summer fling.
A 20-year-old summer fling.
Yes.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
What do you think her non-summer sex life, dating life was like?
Ooh. You know what? Probably being a substitute professor at the community college, she probably walked around campus and hooked up with students that weren't in classes she substituted.
Oh, was she just a substitute?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because I was assuming that every year she picked some 23, 22-year-old graduate student, teacher's assistant, beta boy.
I mean, she could have done that too, because, I mean, maybe some junior colleges have that. I mean, I don't know. But I do think she was going after younger dudes outside of baseball season.
Okay. Do you think they were alphas like Crash and Nuke, or you think they were beta pro-feminist into literature guys?
I think probably both, but I think probably outside the season she probably leaned more towards that just to change it up.
Okay.
Because she seems like the kind of woman that likes to change things up and knows that different men can provide different things.
Got to give them the deuce occasionally.
That's
Can't
right.
just throw fastballs. Also, shout out to the bench coach, was fucking hilarious in this movie.
Yes.
There was a rain delay where he was reading the art of Mayan whatever. Great.
The bench coach was great in this movie. Both coaches were phenomenal. I enjoyed both of them a lot.
We're on to trivia and facts. And I got a sneaky suspicion this movie's got some good ones.
It's got good ones, and it has a lot of them. So I'm going to start with some Ron Shelton trivia.
Writer-director
Ron Shelton. He did use his former minor league baseball player as his experience for the basis of the story. He actually casted Tim Robbins over the strong objections of the studio, who wanted Anthony Michael Hall instead of Shelton. Instead of Tim Robbins. Shelton had to threaten to quit before they backed off.
No, that doesn't work. Anthony Michael Hall does not work in this role. And I like Anthony Michael Hall.
Yeah.
He's not a pitcher.
No. The costume designer did a little research and learned that the last baseball jersey Shelton ever wore as a minor league player was number 8, which I'm sure you know. That was Crash Davis's number.
That's right. Nuke was 37.
Yeah. The rainout scene that you love so much.
Love it.
Was based on an actual event. In the late 1960s, Ron Shelton was playing minor league baseball in the Texas League. Shelton's team was in Amarillo, Texas for a season-ending series. The night before the final game, Shelton, some teammates, and some Amarillo players were out partying and decided to go to the stadium and turn on the sprinkler system, thereby flooding the field and ensuring a rainout. The Amarillo team owner owned a helicopter, though, and dried the field.
Do you know what the current Amarillo minor league team, do you know what their nickname is?
Of course I don't.
It's the Sod Poodles.
God, that's so fucking cool.
Minor league baseball's great.
You have a minor league baseball cap coming for me, don't you? You're buying us both one?
Which one you want?
Whatever one you want us to have.
You're not a hat guy, but you're a beanie guy. You want a beanie?
No, I think I want a hat.
Okay. So my problem, I would love to have a Durham Bulls hat because it is a real team. The problem is the logo looks way too much like the Denver Broncos.
No, I want a cool logo and a cool team name.
Okay.
So
All right.
So just take that for what it is and choose one.
I got you.
According to Ron Shelton, he came up with the name E.B. Calvin Nuke LaLouche after being served in a restaurant by a waiter named Ebby Calvin Nuke N-O-O-K LaRouche. Shelton thought it was such a standout name and changed the spelling of the nickname and the last name to LaLouche.
Oh, I hope that waiter got a little side money.
I hope so too.
Tip your waiters.
Please tip your waiters. We're both former service industry. My next bit of trivia focused on Susan Sarandon. I don't know if you know this, you probably do, but Annie is a term referring to baseball groupies.
I did not know that.
Yeah, hence her name, Annie.
All right.
Yeah. For those of us who don't know, Tim Robbins and Susan Sarandon married for a very long time. I didn't look up if they're still married. My grandparents said they're not.
I don't know.
Don't know if they
were
still
married
are.
for most of my life.
Yeah, for decades. They met during the filming of this movie.
Okay.
Yeah. This is also their personal favorite movie they've ever done, both together and individually.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Good for them.
Yeah.
And I can see why. This movie looked like it was a blast to film.
Oh, I bet this movie was fun as shit. At first, when I was first watching this movie, because I didn't realize that people did this or do it, or I thought maybe it was a bleep in the movie, he's a switch hitter.
Mm-hmm.
So he hits right and left. So when I first saw him hitting left-handed in the first game, I was like, okay, he's a left-handed batter. And then when he was in the batting cages with Annie, he was doing it right-handed.
Yep.
And I'm like, that's a fucking mess up.
It was
And
not.
then I realized it wasn't. And I thought that was cool, so I had to throw that in here.
Your foreshadowing guy. Did you notice what hand? So he's a switch-handed hitter, but he's a right-handed thrower. Did you notice which hand he hit Nuke with in the bar fight scene?
No.
Hit him with his left hand.
Did he really?
He did.
Love that.
Then it foreshadows Nuke punching him with his left hand because Nuke's a right-handed pitcher.
Huh. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool shit. I meant to bring this up earlier, but I didn't. Shelton cast Kevin Costner because of the actor's natural athleticism. He was a former high school baseball player and was able to hit two home runs while the cameras were rolling, and according to Shelton, insisted on throwing runners out even when they weren't rolling.
Yeah. No, he's extremely convincing as a baseball player. Great athlete. Good. He is in the Sports Movie Hall of Fame first ballot. Between this and
Field of Dreams
and Tin Cup.
I've never seen Tin Cup, and I think I've either seen the entire Field of Dreams or half of it, but it was when I was younger than 15. Really? Okay.
Tin Cup's great.
Well, we'll have to do it. Is it a baseball movie too?
Golf.
Oh, gross.
Don Johnson's the bad guy.
We're going to have to wait till your next fucking birthday.
Cheech Marin.
Wait, hold on.
Cheech Marin's his caddy.
Don Johnson's the bad guy?
Don Johnson's the bad guy.
And Cheech and Chong, Cheech is the caddy?
That's right.
We can watch it next time. This can be our next movie. I'm down. You got me with Don Johnson.
I'll watch Tin Cup any day of the week.
Now on to just regular old movie trivia.
Don't make it sound so boring.
Oh, no, it's not fucking boring. It's great. In the meeting of the pitcher's mound, the bench coach, Robert Wool, ad-libbed his line about getting candlesticks as a wedding present. He said it was based on a real conversation he had with his wife.
I loved that scene so much where they're all out on the mound.
Oh my God, it was great. I can't imagine that ever happens.
I don't either.
I mean, I'm sure it has, especially in the minor leagues. Maybe it doesn't happen in MLB, but I imagine in the minor leagues it's probably happened.
As someone who hasn't played baseball since 9th grade, and as a infielder, I never went to the pitcher mound to hear what the pitcher and catcher were talking about. Never once.
The bar scene takes place in Mitch's Tavern on Hillsborough Street in Raleigh, North Carolina, across the street from North Carolina State University. Today, in Mitch's, there are a few mementos from this movie. Framed film still of Crash Davis and Annie, autographed by Susan Sarandon and Kevin Costner, and the glass door with which Nuke LaLouche breaks is framed. The furniture, fixtures, and layout of the tavern largely remain the same as they were in 1988. And I now want to go to this bar.
If I'm ever in that area, I'm making a trip out of that.
I'm upset that I haven't seen this movie because I was in North Carolina 2 years ago.
Oh, that'd have been great.
I went to visit my brother at Fort Bragg. Although Kevin Costner plays an older, more experienced ball player, in real life, he's only 3 years older than Tim Robbins. They were 33 and 30.
Tim Robbins looks 22 in this movie.
100% he does. He does not look 30. I wish I looked as young as Tim Robbins does at 30.
Like he's still got like college body.
Yep.
He's that skinny college guy body. How's he 30?
I know.
God damn Tim Robbins.
Yeah,
I'm jealous.
Fuck you, dude. The bull billboard offering a free steak if it gets tagged home by a home run was created for the film. The real life team kept it even after moving to a newer, bigger stadium. Durham Bulls Athletic Park, even today, if a player hits the bull on the fly with a home run, he wins a free steak from a local restaurant. And if the player hits the grass the bull stands on, he wins a free salad. How fucking cool is that?
That's awesome.
When Shelton pitched the film, he had a hard time convincing a studio to give him the opportunity to direct. Baseball movies at the time were not considered a viable commercial prospect at the time, and every studio passed except for Orion Pictures. And when I turned this movie on, I was like, oh God, Orion Pictures. It's been a long time since I've seen an Orion movie. Who gave him a $9 million budget, with many of the cast members accepting lower than usual salaries because of the material. An 8-week shooting schedule and creative freedom, the film's success sparked a boom of baseball movies in the years afterwards, which include
Major League,
8 Men Out, Major League, Field of Dreams, and A League of Their Own.
Oh, there's some great movies in there.
Yep. The only one I haven't heard of is 8 Men Out.
It's the worst of the four, but
still watchable?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. You'll love this one because you're a big minor league fan. Charlie Sheen was considered for the role of Nuke Lelouch, but he was already committed to another baseball movie,
Rick
8 Men Out.
Oh no! I thought you were going to say Major League, where he was Rick Wild Thing Vaughn.
Major League came out in '89. 8 Men Out came out in '88. So at the time of the filming, he was filming 8 Men Out.
Much more convincing of a Major League pitcher than Tim Robbins.
Okay.
He in Major League, he's like legitimately throwing 88-mile-an-hour fastballs.
Wow, I'm a big Charlie Sheen fan. That dude's awesome. You
are gonna have so much fun on the trivia when we do Major League.
Awesome. I'm fucking excited. BJ, this trivia is for the both of us.
Okay.
In 2003, a 15th anniversary celebration of the film at the National Baseball Hall of Fame was canceled by Hall of Fame President Dale Petrosky. Petrosky, who was on the White House staff during the Reagan administration, told Tim Robbins that the actor's public opposition to the U.S.-led war in Iraq helped to undermine the U.S. position, which could put our troops in even more danger. Kevin Costner, a self-described libertarian, defended Robbins and Susan Sarandon, saying, quote, "I think Tim and Susan's courage is the type of courage that makes our democracy work. Pulling back to Zen fight is against a whole principle about what we fight for and profess to be about."
Thank you, Kevin Costner.
Yep.
Great job, Kevin Costner. And look, there's very few things more obnoxious than the Hollywood liberal. Susan Sarandon and Tim Robbins are fucking real ones.
100%.
Whether you agree with them or not, doesn't matter. They're fucking real ones.
Yes.
And Kevin Costner, thank you for standing up.
You're a real one too.
We can work together.
Yep, 100%. Come on this pod.
You're Metallica nutting yourself is if Kevin Costner sitting across from me.
Okay, so you're gonna shit bricks and come.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Do you see how good looking that guy is?
Yeah, even today, it's not fair.
He looks better in a Carhartt at 74 than I do.
I put this in for both of us too. I'm a huge Big Lebowski fan. Mm-hmm. I can't wait to do that film on this pod.
Your mouse pad right now is the rug from the dude.
Yes. Yeah.
It ties the room together.
It ties the fucking room together. Both Jeff Bridges and Don Johnson turned down the role of Crash.
Ooh.
And Kevin Costner killed the role of Crash. I would have been okay with both Jeff Bridges and Don Hudson in '88 doing this.
Ooh,
and honestly, I wouldn't recast this movie. We're going to get to that later. But if it did have to be recast, I'm cool with those two actors.
Yeah, it's not any worse of a movie.
No. When Nuke is promoted to the majors, we see him giving a television interview. The scene was filmed at Arlington Stadium, our hometown Texas Rangers.
Pre the ballpark in Arlington, that stadium was a shithole.
And it's no longer the home field for the Rangers.
No. It long since 94 was the ballpark in Arlington, and then recently they moved to the GILF, Globe Life Field.
Yeah.
Not Grandma. I'd like to.
I can't wait to go to a Rangers game with you and a minor league game. I think they'd be fun to go to.
Yeah. I enjoy going to minor league baseball games.
Yeah. Sybil Shepherd and Bruce Willis were considered to play the parts of Annie and Crash, but declined due to their commitment to the TV series Moonlighting. I don't think Bruce would have been good as Crash.
No, not as good as Costner.
Or Jeff Bridges or Don Johnson.
Yeah.
But I just thought that was cool because I'm a huge Bruce Willis fan. Right. And I'm so glad that he declined this movie and his first film was Die Hard. Because that set up the rest of his career. I don't know where his career would have gone if this would have been his first movie. And I'm very happy with Bruce Willis's career.
Yes. Yeah.
So,
win-win.
When Crash Davis first arrives to the Durham Bulls, he mentions Larry Hockett pitching for El Paso when Crash was batting for Shreveport in the Texas League 5 years prior. In 1983, there were Texas League teams in the mentioned cities, the El Paso Diablos and the Shreveport Captains. Both teams still exist in the Texas League under new names. The Diablos. You go ahead and tell me.
El Paso's the Chihuahuas.
Okay. So I didn't know El Paso still had a team.
Okay.
I love the El Paso Chihuahuas. That's a fucking cool ass name.
Great hats.
Oh my God, I bet they are. But the Diablos became the Springfield Cardinals, and the Captains became the Frisco Rough Riders.
All right.
Yeah. Our hometown team.
Yeah. We're about 10 miles from the Frisco ballpark right now?
Maybe even less.
Oh, yeah, we're less.
We might be 5 miles.
Yeah.
Alec Baldwin, Tom Berenger, Harrison Ford, Richard Gere, Mel Gibson, Tommy Lee Jones, Michael Keaton, Christian Lambert, Stephen Lang, Bill Paxton, Ron Perlman, Dennis Quaid, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and Sylvester Stallone were considered to play Crash Davis. Out of all those names, the only two were previously mentioned, Don Johnson and Jeff Bridges, would have done as good a job as Costner.
Can I also take this moment to throw in that Kevin Costner should have played Michael Douglas's role in Basic Instinct?
100% you can, because Kevin Costner would have showed us his motherfucking dick.
Oh, I bet that thing is thick.
Show me your dick, Michael Douglas. That bit's not getting old. I swear to God it won't.
Nope. We're going to say that every episode.
Every time we can. So yeah, that's all my trivia. I enjoyed looking at the trivia for this movie. It was a lot of fun for me.
Oh, a lot of baseball trivia.
A lot of baseball trivia.
I enjoyed it.
And not being a baseball fan, this movie makes me want to watch more baseball. And I'm not a baseball fan, but I remember the time that I became cool with baseball. I was at my buddy Botz's crib, and we were hitting the bong like crazy.
Yeah.
I was stoned out of my fucking mind. And I'm watching baseball. And I'm like, you know what? This is pretty fucking awesome.
Yeah, baseball's the best sport. Being stoned improves baseball more than it does any other sport.
Yeah, because I'm a stoner through and through. I have a Scooby-Doo tattoo with a pot leaf instead of SD on the collar, and it's red, yellow, and green on the collar instead of blue. So that's the kind of stoner I am. And I can watch NFL football stoned out of my motherfucking mind. But when people tell me that they can't do it, I understand that. Because it's too fast, it's too intense. I get it. I'm a certified stoner. But baseball stoned, incredible. And that's when at that point, I'm like, baseball's not that bad. Like, I could probably do this sober.
Although baseball has gotten worse. So they've done the whole analytics thing in baseball, right? Mm-hmm. Which it essentially, what it does is it makes it more important for the true outcome at bat, which is a strikeout, a walk, or a home run.
Mm-hmm.
And Kevin Costner mentions in the movie, strikeouts are fascist. Put the ball in play, it's more democratic. Because the best two things about baseball are fielding and base running. And when you only do walks, strikeouts, and home runs, you take away the two best parts about baseball, which are base running and fielding. This is my PSA to baseball.
You heard it here. IRMFT Pod.
Yeah, Rob Manfred, if you're listening, bring back putting the ball in play.
I don't know what that means, but Ron Manfred, if I've got your name right.
He's the MLB commissioner.
Yeah.
Rob Manfred.
Rob Manfred. Please listen to my friend BJ Leica. BJ Nuke Leica.
And if you guys want to vote him out and make me the new commissioner of Major League Baseball, I will accept.
You will accept. It'll be a tough position to accept, but you'll do it for the good of baseball.
Yes, just for the good of baseball, not for the $25 million.
No, not that at all. Movie impersonations. That's our segment now. BJ, this being your birthday episode, why don't you tell our lovely guests what our impersonations are? Because
so this is a very underrated scene in the movie. This is when the manager comes in when they're all showering, throws the bats in the shower, and starts lecturing them about lollygagging. It's a great scene.
And you said that. Did you say that Kevin Costner? Because it was Crash that made this scene happen.
Oh yeah, he told him, yell at him.
Yeah, he's like, scare him.
Yeah,
be a motherfucking coach.
Yeah,
like these are grown men. They're not your college stars who are trying to get scholarships and trying to make it. These are guys that
men.
Yeah, they're men, and they know that they're not going to make the show.
That's right.
So fucking scare them, because this is their job.
So the coach comes in with something like, "Ekus, you lollygag to the pod. You lollygag to your computer. You lollygag to your notes. Do you know what that makes you? A lollygagger."
Leica, all you fucking do is study rocks. You know what that makes you? A goddamn lollygagger. What kind of scientists focus on fucking rocks? You lollygagging piece of shit.
It's fair. It's fair. Until Major League Baseball hires me as their commissioner, and then I don't have to worry about rocks anymore.
Final thoughts on this movie. I'm going to go ahead and say mine because...
Go ahead.
I feel like I have an idea what yours is. Initially, I rated this movie a 7.5.
Okay.
After talking to you about it and doing my research for the movie and just thinking about how much I enjoyed this movie, it's an 8.2. I can't put it that close to 9 because I don't know why. I was never bored. I enjoyed the fuck out of this movie. Maybe after rewatching it goes higher for me. I don't know.
You dislike rom-com and sports movies, and you're rating this movie above an 8.
Yes. So because IMDb doesn't do points, it is an 8 on my IMDb profile.
Okay.
And rightfully so.
For me, we've already mentioned this is one of my favorite movies of all time. This is a 9.8. If Tim Robbins had better pitching form, it'd be a 10. It's the perfect movie.
So the only reason this isn't a 10 for you is because you're a baseball fan.
Pretty much.
Okay. 9.8. That might
9.8.
That might as well be a perfect 10.
Yeah.
Because if I were you and didn't like baseball as much as you did, I'd probably rate this a 10. Because and again, I don't know why I give it an 8.2. That makes sense to me. I don't care.
Doesn't matter. No. It's what you thought of the movie. That's fine.
Yeah. But okay. 9.8 because Tim Robbins isn't an actual pitcher.
Yeah.
Okay.
Even though Tim Robbins is great in this movie as an actor.
Oh, yeah. And honestly, he's great as a pitcher. I loved, and we haven't talked about this, I loved his pitching throughout the whole movie. I didn't bring this up when we talked about what we liked about the movie. I enjoyed whenever he was really killing it at pitching and just firing on all cylinders. And Crash walks out to the mound and was like, all right, I want your next pitch to hit the ball.
Oh, that's a great scene. I love that scene.
And Tim Robbins is like, oh, why? I'm fucking killing it. It's like, just fucking hit the ball, okay? And then he hits the ball, and that fucking batter is fucking scared. And Crash, who now has complete confidence in his pitcher, he's just like, I don't know what this fucking guy's going to do.
I wouldn't grab the plate if I was you.
Yeah.
98 miles an hour in the ribs hurts.
Fuck yeah, it breaks your ribs. It doesn't just hurt. It breaks bones.
Yeah.
So, I love this pitching.
That's a really high ranking for this podcast.
It is.
An 8.2 and a 9.8. Cool.
Yeah, movie's incredible. Should they remake this movie?
100%. It ages fantastically. There's really only 3 characters. Yeah, go ahead and remake this movie. Give me more minor league baseball movies.
Yes. There are such cool names. There are so many cool characters you can do with minor league baseball. And I realize that now. Give me more minor league baseball movies.
So if they do remake it, how are you personally, Jacob Crash Ekus, gonna cast this movie?
So the Crash character, and BJ, I haven't told you this yet, but after finishing all 4 seasons of Ozark, you should watch it.
Okay.
And I know you've been hesitant on it because you've already seen Breaking Bad. It's not the same show.
Jason Bateman, big baseball fan, huge Dodgers fan.
I think Jason Bateman should be Crash.
All right. Okay.
I don't know how athletic he is, but
not near as good looking as Costner.
No, and
funnier than Costner though.
I don't necessarily think you need to be as good looking as Costner to play Crash. I think with how, because Jason Bateman is not unattractive. No, but you're right, he's not Kevin Costner. Right. But his comedy, the level of acting he can do, which I was introduced with Ozark, I think he could nail the fuck out of Crash Davis.
And he's a huge baseball fan.
So he would be so down.
All right.
I know this guy's a little older, but Hollywood does fantastic things, and I think this guy could play somebody in his early 20s. James Franco as Nuke. Because he's got the long, lanky kind of look that Tim Robbins had.
Got that comedy element to him for sure.
Yeah, and the dim-wittedness, I think James Franco can pull off just like Tim Robbins.
2010 James Franco is perfect for that role.
Yeah.
2022, there's some wrinkles in that Franco face.
And I'd be cool with his younger brother.
Dave?
Yeah, David Franco. But I went with James because I've seen more movies with him. I know he can do the dim-wittedness really well. So, yeah, I think they could make it work.
Okay.
And my initial thought for Annie, go ahead.
So, someone who has played an Annie before and Dave Franco are married.
Wait, what?
You've never seen Community. Allison Brie.
Okay.
She plays Annie, and she would be a great Annie.
Okay. My choice, because how old is she?
She's probably my age. She's probably in her mid-30s.
Okay, so I went with a little older for my Annie, because I know that's not your
Annie.
Oh,
my goodness. No. She's 40 now. Allison Brie is 40.
Okay. So she could do it now. My initial choice for Annie was Halle Berry.
Okay.
We're big Halle Berry fans on this pod.
Now,
but my actual choice, before you go on, because I know you're a little confused with Halle Berry, my actual choice, Charlize Theron.
Okay. So I think Halle Berry might be a good enough actress to pull this off. When I see Halle Berry, I don't think baseball groupie.
Okay.
And she's a good enough actress where I think she can pull it off, but just right off the top of my head, not sure if it works.
Sure.
Charlize may be too good looking.
Okay. But Halle Berry's as good looking as Charlize Theron.
That's true.
It was hard to pick a Annie.
That's the hardest part.
Yeah.
Because for me, for the Crash Davis character, I think someone who looks a lot like Costner, I think they can pull off the funny. I think they can pull off the asshole. I think they can combine it. Chris Evans.
Okay.
And I really want to see America's ass in a pair of baseball pants.
So my problem with Chris Evans is he does have the age, but he doesn't look it. I think it would be hard to find. I think it would be hard to find someone that looks significantly younger than Chris Evans.
Chris Evans
Because
is 40, man.
I realize he's 40, but we just watched Nice Out, and that dude does not look 40 to me.
Okay.
He looks like his late 20s.
Okay.
He's aged incredibly well. I would fuck that guy.
Oh, yeah.
Correction.
No.
I would let him fuck me.
Either one. Whatever.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
If you're down, I'm down.
I really just want to see Chris Evans in a pair of baseball pants.
That's fair. And, I'm not a Hollywood executive. He probably could pull off Crash Davis.
Throw a couple gray hairs in the beard.
I don't know what actor you could get that looks significantly younger than him, even at 40.
Okay. So my original thought for Nuke LaLoosh was Miles Teller. Miles Teller 7 years ago is great for Nuke LaLoosh.
Who's Miles Teller?
He is in the new Top Gun Maverick movie. He's the star of that. He is in War Dogs with Jonah Hill. He is the Reed Richards in the shitty Fantastic Four movie.
Okay, yes, Miles Teller. Okay.
Yeah.
I know him from Whiplash.
Oh, Whiplash, yeah, with J.K. Simmons.
Yes. Yep. Okay. I think he'd be a really good Nuke.
If he's a little too old, my idea was, I don't know this guy's name, but Billy from Stranger Things.
I don't think he's too old. He was born in 87.
Who is?
Miles Teller.
Oh, okay. Well, let's get Miles Teller in there.
Yeah. I mean, he's about as old as
sure, Tim
Robbins
and
and Costner.
Yeah. He's got a little baby face to him.
Yes.
Now, my problem with Annie is I kept gravitating towards redheads, and I don't know why.
Because she's redhead.
My initial thought was Christina Hendricks from Mad Men.
Okay.
You know who that is, right?
Yeah, I know her from Good Girls. Incredible.
Oh my God, I love Christina Hendricks.
Good Girls doesn't give her cleavage any kind of respect. All of her clothes really hide her cleavage.
Mad Men gives her cleavage plenty of respect.
And you've been telling me to watch Mad Men forever. So now that I've told you to watch Ozark, maybe I'll watch Mad Men.
Okay. A lot more Mad Men seasons to watch than Ozark. So,
yeah.
But I think I landed on, for this role, someone who's funny, someone who's a good actor, someone who can be sexy and funny at the same time, someone who is believable as a baseball fan, Jennifer Lopez.
Okay.
Jennifer Lopez is
now,
older.
why is she believable as a baseball fan? Because is that not Halle? Is that not similar to Halle Berry?
She was with A-Rod for years.
Oh, was she?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, her and Alex Rodriguez had a relationship for a long time.
The only relationship I know of her is her and Ben Affleck.
Okay. Yeah.
Gigolo.
Geely.
Thank you. Geely.
Not Gigolo's a different thing.
It is.
When's American Gigolo with Richard Gere going to be on this podcast?
Whenever you want.
But that's mine. Teller, okay. Evans, and J-Lo.
Okay. That's a pretty good list. Honestly, I would probably just put Jason Bateman as Crash and go with your list.
Okay. Jason Bateman, you're welcome on this podcast anytime.
Please.
I am a day one Arrested Development fan.
Yes. I'm not. He showed me that show, and it's fucking incredible. There's always money in the banana stand.
No, Michael. There's $100,000 in cash inside the walls of the banana stand. I'm sorry if I spoiled that for anybody.
The staircase car. Oh my God. If you haven't seen Arrested Development, every season's on Netflix. Please do yourself a favor and just enjoy. Just enjoy. One of my favorite parts of this pod, IMDb reviews.
Oh, God.
Yep.
People didn't like this movie?
It was hard to find negative reviews.
Okay, good.
It was hard to find negative reviews. In fact, I have 2 good ones and 1 bad one.
Okay.
That's how hard it was to find negative reviews of this movie. The first review I'm doing is an 8 out of 10, and it's titled Dudes! ! That caught my attention from the get-go.
Oh, yeah.
We
are dudes.
We are dudes.
Yeah.
That don't know shit about movies, that have a movie podcast.
Yeah. In fact, our social media description is 2 dudes who love movies.
Yep. So that's who we are. Dudes. Lighten up already. Movies can be fun. This movie is fun. I'm sick of people trying to make every celluloid creation an excuse for social commentary. In this movie, you don't have to think about politics or poverty or perversity. Well, there's some in here, but it's fun too. Or war or social justice. It's all about fun dudes. Geez, does every movie have to have some serious, profound, earth-shattering message?
No.
No. And no is in all caps.
It can be about baseball and romance.
Yep, and that's what this movie is.
Dude, you're welcome on this podcast.
Yes, I don't have your name, but you know who you are if you're listening. This one's a 10 out of 10.
As all should be.
The title, Still Love This Movie.
Yep.
That's BJ.
Is this the review I wrote?
It might be. I loved this movie when I first saw it in the 80s, and I still love it. This is a funny, unpredictable, and well-acted movie about minor league baseball with unbelievable characters. Tim Robbins is hilarious. Susan Sarandon is an unconventional and sexy as can be. Kevin Costner looks good enough to eat. Yeah, and he does.
This may be my alter ego that knows this. I've never done an IMDb review, but this is very close to my exact thoughts on this movie.
This movie is not only fun, but touching and romantic on top of it. Roger Ebert said the romance was not believable. I disagree. Susan Sarandon's character and Kevin Costner's character were both getting long in the tooth. They both had a passion for baseball. Moreover, they both had a passion for each other. Many lifelong loves are based on less than that.
Baseball brings people together, Jacob.
It sure fucking does. That's the reason it's America's pastime.
That's right.
It's a bad review.
Oh, no. I loved the good reviews so much.
Yeah, you're going to hate this one. 1 out of 10. Titled, Disappointing. Costner learned to pick better scripts. Replete with profanity, an immoral sexual relationship, an almost unrealistic view of baseball life. There truly is nothing special or magical about this movie, but a forum for a low-end script with very little creativity. Typically, a script that resorts to foul language has little to offer. Having played high school and college baseball, the content in this movie is not what is lived on the field of dreams. Speaking of which, Costner elevated his game in The Field of Dreams, a far better and more meaningful movie than Bull Durham, which is stupid and a waste of money and time.
All right. So, where do I want to start with this?
I know where I want to start with this. If you're a high school and college athlete in any kind of sports and you're not cussing and trying to have a bunch of sex, what high school and college were you playing at? And you were doing it fucking wrong.
Is there a lot of cussing in this movie?
Yes.
I mean, I know there's a lot of don't bring that weak shit in here meat.
There's a ton of cussing in this movie. There's a bunch of fucks. I think fuck was said 35 times in 104 minutes.
What? Yeah. I did not notice that many fucks.
Pussy was said a bunch of times.
Yeah.
But I mean, dumb, dim-witted men, and even men around other men, they fucking cuss a lot.
Yes. Because you're only around men.
Yes.
Like, you should know this. You played college baseball. You are around. They went on a 16-day road trip where they probably talked to nobody other than the 18 people on that fucking bus.
And another one of my favorite parts is the content in this movie is not what is lived on the Field of Dreams. I don't know.
It was written by a minor league baseball
That's
player.
what I was about to say. Jeez. Ron Shelton fucking did this movie. This was his life. And it was helped by Kurt Russell, who had the same fucking experience.
You want to watch a movie where Kurt Russell's son plays a pitcher?
Yeah.
Richard Linklater's Everybody Wants Some.
Everybody wants some! And they do.
Well, so that guy sucks. But would you recommend this movie to people?
Everyone that I'll ever see for the rest of my life.
It's on the list of movies you need to watch before you die.
1,001 movies. And there are much more than 1,001 movies.
Therefore, you should see this movie.
Yep.
That's all I had to say.
Yeah, that's all that needs to be said.
Well, how was your first time, Jacob?
Oh, my first time was great. Very explosive, very sexual.
No one just read you poetry the whole time?
I mean, not the whole time, but a little bit.
All right.
I got some Walt Whitman.
All right.
Yeah.
Well,
BJ, I have to say thank you for forcing this movie on me.
happy birthday to me. And next week, we got a horror movie.
Our first horror movie with my childhood friend who watched more movies than we can even think of together. Mitchell Droz.
What's the movie?
A Nightmare on Elm Street.
Ooh.
Wes Craven's original Freddy Krueger movie.
Freddy mother effing Krueger.
We're fucking ready.
Let's do it.